Hello and welcome to yet another cast. For you today I have a 3v3 played on the map matchmaker, talking is hard, and also Mapgen. So yeah, it's 10k map, just normal 10k. Blue team, red team, blue team, or team 1 in the west, the red team or team 2 in the east, and let's introduce the players. On the northernmost slot for team 1, we have John Hammond going Cypern and opening first land in blue. God, talking is really hard for me. Why was I about to say going Aeon? Because that's definitely not Aeon. Probably gonna get better. Right, to the south of that, in dark blue, also going Cypern, we have Popular, also opening first land. Then, to the south of that, in purple, we have True, who is going Seraphim and opening first land in... I think I already said that, but just to make sure, in purple. Right, for team 2, yes. On the southernmost slot in red and opening first land, we have Bream going UEF. Then to the north of that, going Cypern in burgundy red and opening first air, we have Sunny. And last but not least, on the not on the northern team, but on the northernmost slot for the eastern team, we have Damon Russ going Seraphim in orange and opening first land. And by looks of this stuff down here, someone already has secured their T2 upgrade on the Land Factory hub. As that still has not been fixed, but I'm sure the devs are working on it. I'm sure that problem is currently in the works, as it's something that's currently experienced by many other casters. But let's take a look at but something to point out, rating-wise, this game is lower rated than most games I usually cast, with the lowest rated player being True at just 700, and the highest rated player being Popular at 876. The way that the last digits are said are different in German, so just had to get that realigned from here for a moment. Anyway, back into the game. We have a Zeus already out from Sunny that is currently flying overhead the base of Popular, and that is going to get one engineer. It drops on the factory, denying the construction of another one. Now getting these engineers would definitely be really juicy, as those are really important for building power, but Popular already noticed and is moving those away by the looks of it. Okay, started a Tracer, but I think those will get their drop off. Oh, never mind, the bomber does actually drop it, but misses. Engineer still moved out just to be sure, and it finishes the Tracer, so that will be shot down. But not for getting another drop off and killing off another 2 engineers. So we couldn't probably save 3.5 engineers with the one that died in this factory. Now let's see how it's looking at the front. T2 coming out from Bream. Few engineers, few ACUs pushing out, for example also the one of John Hammond. Getting this max expansion. Currently not any real spam out from the western team. There are already some farms out from Damon Russ. And by looks of it, currently nothing to really counter that on the field. Sunny also getting some stuff down here. Pushing somewhat aggressively, I guess. Well, it's a small map, so wouldn't call that too aggressive, and this map gives me a really strong 5k map, 5k size vibes, but it's 10k, so it is still deceptively large, just that doesn't mean that it's enormous, it just means it's slightly large. Now, okay, yeah, John Hammond just grabbing those maxes up there. Run by from this farm now into the main base right here. However, there are no mantis coming out from Hammond that will be dealing with that, deal with that. if they actually know that there is something there, and they don't. So that will just run by and, by the looks of it, most likely pick up this max up here. Now, another farm coming up here, but that will most likely be spotted by those mantas. And right, already a T2 Raider up. Can they afford that? No, they can't. T2 Raider takes a lot of power, no idea how much, because that's just had the selection bug. 150. Yeah, they definitely don't have that. Yeah, that's some slight e-commerce managing. They need to build a lot more P-Jets. Generally, you only want T2 Raider is really, well, it works at T1 stage, but usually you would want to get at least one T2 P-Gen out before you do that. Now Hammond continuing to push forward with that ACU, but that leaves this flank right here wide open for some run-by from that. And by looks of it, that might get, well, that does pick off one max. This max up here also did get picked off. That stuff's coming in, and looking at the spam situation on this side, it's also not looking too great for them, as they are currently heavily outspammed by Damon Russ. And the ACU is currently basically alone. Okay, John Hammond is now going for a gun. However, there is a lot of stuff coming in, so that's definitely quite dangerous. And they just went T2 on another Raider. Still, they do not have the power for that. So yeah, that's interesting. Probably a newer player. The getting the hang of the proper ecoing and subcom can be quite hard when you start out, especially properly power balancing. So, well, I just assume it's that because that's some serious underbuilding of power. Like, to the extent that even I wouldn't make that mistake, and I'm usually quite heavy on power stalling. So, if I play that, because I generally underbuild power quite a bit. Or often, not generally, but I tend to do it. Especially on Mapgen, where I don't have the where I don't have the possibility to always adapt to the situation. Another run by coming into the base now from Damon Russ. And that is taking out quite a bit of build power. This max will probably get T2. But a lot of energy is going down. Yeah, that max did actually got T2. But more stuff coming in, the ACU now also being cornered a bit. Some maxes down there will go down as well, so not looking too great for them. That run by made it down further south into the base of Popular. Though they actually have something to do with that. Now, I just want to point out, the reason I selected this cast wasn't because of low-rated players being shafted by other low-rated players or new players getting completely wrecked. It's just that the actual interesting part will develop in the later stages of this game. As surprisingly, these players will actually be able to recover from, well, this push at least. The T2 max right here does go down, and this max also did go down to some Suis. There are, however, no reinforcements coming in from True that are defending quite successfully. Those players on the eastern team that are on the southern flank playing somewhat passively, just firebasing up, not wishing to be too aggressive. Interestingly enough, this max not grabbed by True. That's 2 extra mass that they could be getting, but they aren't right now. This base is just getting completely annihilated right now. Yeah, not looking too great. And Gentleman just slowly upgrading that ACU. without power and without mass, but True is sending some stuff over to make it possible at times. Right, now it's a mass store because all the core mass did go down. Fair enough. And I guess some overflow from the team. Yeah, big army now coming, moving up here from True to try and help out. And definitely a possibility since there isn't any major aggression coming out from Zenny or Bream. So some neglect of that front is currently in the realm of possibility. No, this base will just go down. Interesting call to go for this for TT Max right here, but once again, I suspect a newer player and eco-balance and learning to eco-balance even on the basics of eco-balancing and subcom can be quite hard. And especially on your first games, you do tend to get a lot of rating. So, not too surprising. I will not go too hard on them, just assuming that that's what's going on, because that seems quite reasonable. It's of course really unfortunate for the Western team, since by the looks of it that has been balanced out for them with some more competent players. But well, the way that rating and skill works, it just takes some time till your actual rating gets you actually have the rating you should have, and until that point is reached, it will always suck for your teammates. Or generally for the players in the game, but that's just a problem you will always have with rating systems. Now, the gun upgrade actually about to finish, or very close to finishing, for Hammond at 95%. Though they are now taking quite a bit of fire. But Popular coming in quite helpful, starting to build up some Cerberus on this passage right here. Both blocking a run by through that passage and also providing some firepower or some fire into that area, to that general area. Not too amazing, but definitely some. Is that? Yeah, Hammond did actually get that gun upgrade. Down into the yellow after taking a lot of artifire. But already one rank of veterancy, so at least something. Now they only need to rebuild their base. Since they can't do too much otherwise. What I completely missed while paying attention to that stuff going on up there, there is a sizable push that did now actually come out from Zenny down in the south, and it is pushing quite heavily into the base of True, so they are definitely gonna be losing quite a lot of stuff here. Most likely, I expect that they will lose the T2 Max, a lot of build power right here, including T2 NGs, I think. Never mind, no. Maybe not. Right, because those tanks are actually the ones of True and not the stuff that was sent in by Zenny. I'm stupid. Sometimes. Yeah. Never mind. So they did actually manage to defend without losing too much. A few T1 NGs, and I guess some build time on a bit of stuff, but nothing too major. And they have some Ishivas. Now there is T2 land also out for Bream, who is currently going T3 on that. And let's see. Some complaining about teammates, as you tend to do, as you tend to see quite a bit in this game. There is T2 air out from Zenny, so we could maybe see some cross air shenanigans. Or some gunships being used, but not sure yet. Also T2 air out from Demon Russ, as well as a T2 land factory. So there will be issues in the north. Now, how does it look up here? There is T2 land out for Popular. And they are currently getting some TMLs. Those could definitely get quite a bit of damage down. Did they already... No, those did not fire yet. And some T2 power beam built up here. Currently game's slowing down a bit. Out of T2 production out for True. Can they afford that? Actually they can. It's not even T2 reclaim. So I guess they just have a pretty solid economy. Now, a bit of advice I can give if any of these players, or generally any new players, watch. What you want to do before you start capping off your T2 maxes is upgrade all your maxes to T1. The order of efficiency for stuff like that is maxes to T2 is more efficient than capping the maxes, and capping a T2 max is more efficient than upgrading it to T3. So basically the order that you want to go for is upgrade all your T1 maxes to T2, after that cap all your T2 maxes, and after that get all those capped maxes to T3. Now there are some Nothas out from Diamond Russ. Let's see if those will be of any importance. And... right, I guess the Eastern team currently coordinating their continued action after John Hammond has been basically taken out of the game. Another thing seeing right here that is definitely not advisable is upgrading multiple maxes at once, as advised to newer players. Once again, you can upgrade these, you can post these max upgrades. And that way the max will just continue producing as normal, and not take up the cost of upgrading. But as you can still assist it to just continue the upgrade. And that way you can focus build power on all maxes, just queue up all your maxes being upgraded, making it a lot easier and a lot more manageable. You generally want to avoid upgrading multiple maxes at once, unless you're overflowing a lot of mass and have the power for it. Neither of which is the case right now for them. So, some advice that I can give at my, I guess, slightly more experienced level. Though I'm pretty sure I'm at the rating of True on 3v3, so... well, I am in that range, but I'm just gonna be quite arrogant and say I probably play quite a bit better than these players. Or quite a few of these players, so... well... there is still some stuff that I can inform about, some stuff that I can suggest. Right, they are actually overflowing mass, so they can afford to upgrade multiple maxes at once. That is fair enough. Those tactical missiles now actually coming in quite useful, sending some stuff over. This one already killed 900 mass, probably T2 max somewhere. Not too sure where, but something did go down. Now Team D is already queued up for Zenny to deal with that. T2 max there goes down. Now, annoying part is, those are TML4s, those are the Cypern missiles, meaning that those will be, need 3 shots to be completely taken out, as the missile does split into 3 missiles when when it's being damaged. Now, firebasing also starting up here. And some armies massing right here and here. But till the parts of the game that I was teasing towards a bit earlier that would be quite interesting come into play. I'm just gonna speed it up a bit. There are some possibles coming out from Bream, who, as far as I've noticed, hasn't done too much this game. Where they did go T3, they are currently upgrading all those factories to HQs. Generally important thing to point out in Subcom is, or not in Subcom but in the FAF version of Subcom, is that we have a system that you need to upgrade your first factory that you tag of a type and of a faction, for example land factory, to an HQ, and after that you can upgrade for much cheaper your factories to support factories, which have a little bit less build power and a little bit less HP, but are a lot cheaper to build and easier to spam out, making it a much better option. But you need the HQ for those support factories to actually have access to the tagged stuff. Now those possibles being utilized, however, possibles at this point are suboptimal since they excel against high HP targets, and due to their high alpha and low fire rate, meaning that they are really bad against a T1 army with some T2 support. In this situation, Titans would be much better. Now, sending some stuff in to help against the push that is coming out from True up here. Those possibles just doing work, but not as effective as Titans would be in this situation. Titans also being much cheaper and easier to spam and faster, stuff like that. Generally the things you want when dealing with just T1. You want something fast, mobile and spammable, with high DPS and high fire rate, but also survivable enough that it doesn't just get completely wrecked by that T1. A whole bunch of Vipers being utilized up here by Popular to fire into this position, and the painting tool right now is really wonky again. I don't know how to determine the amount of dots that I wanted to use, but usually those are a bit more dense, I think, so not too sure what's up with that currently. Pretty sure that's another thing that was added by FAF that the normal game doesn't have, as a nice thing that we casters get to point out to you, the viewer, what's actually going on much better and what we're talking about. For example, this stuff up here. But as such, it shouldn't be too surprising that implementation won't always be perfect, especially with stuff that was with stuff like that did get introduced by the and not by the main developers of the game. Hence the weird thing with this painting tool, with it being a bit wonky at times. Now those posies are actually starting to push in quite a bit further. Let's see, is there any T3 land out that we could see any of them? Not yet, no. There are, however, now T3 maxes going out. That's good to see. Okay, big push up here in the north. Damon Russ is just pushing against John Hammond, who was trying to wall off this section by the looks of it, but that wasn't too successful, and now taking a lot of fire from all the spam. There are a bunch of issues in there. There are some Northers overhead, and that ACU does end up going down. However, it does take most of that the army that did push through the remnants of those walls out with it. So at least something. But with that, at 24 minutes we have the first ejection of John Hammond. Going down to a push out from Damon Russ after, well, yeah, I suppose they were most likely really just a New York player. So, not really the ability to eco-balance properly or good enough yet to outspam their opponent and get enough build power up. the magic balance of the three major resources of this game: build, power, mass, and power. But as already pointed out, it can be quite hard to learn when you start out with that. Now, Ishi's up here being used to somewhat great effect in defending. Well, not great effect, but good enough effect, I guess. And against Ishi's, the Percies actually aren't that overkill anymore, because the Ishva has enough HP that can take 2 shots of a Percival. Unlike the Therms that just get completely overkilled by that. So, hooray. A development. Popular has built an experimental. It is a Monkey Lord, and that is moving through the north, most like going after this firebase by the looks of it. And yeah, stuff here a bit more static, whatever. At least these players are actually reclaiming properly. That's nice to see. That's another key thing that you want to do. Reclaim. As all units that get killed will leave a bit of their the mass that was necessary to build them in form of a wreck. And, well, it is less, it will get less depending on how much overkill damage is done to that unit, but the thing with that still is, can get quite a bit of mass, and we just look down here. Yes, I do now have a reclaim counter actually, and we are looking at 18k mass just down here that could be reclaimed, and that isn't right now. But that complete stuff that died up here all sucked up, only around 1k mass left. That's very nice. Let's follow the Monkey Lord pushing in. But yes, reclaim, very important, very powerful, most of all, as you can just use the investment of Fate Push, or your opponent's Fate Pushes and stuff like that, to strengthen yourself. Or while you are pushing, reclaim after that push and reinvest units that you and basically reuse any units that you have lost immediately during that push, as well as any of the defenses that your opponent had, to just get more stuff back to reinforce your pushing units. Now, giant amount of T1 spam factories built up by Popular. Just all of the factories. And that will be just insane. That will be a ludicrous amount of build power. But they have a lot of mass income. They don't have power currently, though that has just stabilized, and they are currently building a T3P gen. So that will solve itself. And, well, they can definitely get a lot of stuff done with that, I think. Now, big firebase, a lot of PDs thrown up by True right here. Some TMD will probably be a pretty good idea in case there are any MMLs being utilized by Bream and Sunny. There are some right here, but you generally want quite a bit more, especially if you're facing off against Cybran, since I already pointed out, Cybran tactical missiles are a pain to shoot down with their ability to split. The monkey right here does continue to push. It has 27k mass killed. There are, however, renegades firing into that. And okay, 3 ranks of veterancy just got back a bunch of HP. Zenny pointing out that Damon Rust should just overcharge that with the ACU. That is going to be quite ballsy, especially... let's see, do they have the E-storage for that? Not by the looks of it. That's 12k HP, you need a lot of E-storage to overcharge that. You can do that, yes. But it's a very ballsy move, and especially if you don't have gun, because ideally you want that range. So that could just be a suicide run. Right, okay, bunch of East Archers are have been gifted over, so those might be sufficient to overcharge that monkey. 6 of those, let's see how much E do they have in bank. 64k. That's probably enough. Never mind, that monkey is up to 20k HP and a whole bunch of regen and still regening quite a bit more. And if that gets another rank of veterancy, then that's probably... then overcharging that is going to be a super stupid idea. It already is a super stupid idea. Not large amount of bouncers and also just mass mantis now coming out. Just overwhelming what was left of that firebase. And joining up with that monkey. There is also massive T1 army, I think that did mass earlier down here in that area. That moved up from, that was moved up by Zenny to, I guess, help against that monkey. Though, even T2 is generally not too great against experimentals, T1 is completely pointless. That would have probably just feeded some net to that monkey lord, so not too great. Now, what do we have here? Demolishers. The mobile artillery of the UEF, the mobile T3 artillery. All deployed and just standing there, firing its ordnance into this firebase. And while it's not the most accurate, those shields will take a lot of damage from that. And there are quite a few more coming in. There is TMD being built up, but TMD does not help against artillery. It only helps against missiles. And... I mean, to be fair, the early definitions of missile also did include what we nowadays consider just normal guns, but the modern understanding of missile is something quite different, and missile defense is also more towards defending against those types of missiles as we understand, as in the modern understanding of a missile. Now, push continuing on right here. And Monkey Lord pushing in. There is a whole bunch of, that is mostly... There's a bunch of T1, some bouncers to defend against air since there was some gunship play, so fair enough. Though I'm gonna say that flag would probably be the better option right here to defend against that due to the AoE. But never mind, those bouncers just do enough damage to completely wreck those gunships anyway. And yes, the monkey just pushes in without taking any significant amounts of damage. As I already pointed out, it would most likely do. I think it actually has more HP than when it started this specific push, so yeah, that rank of veterancy definitely helped out. Now up to over 30k HP, and a bunch of that, and Damon Russ moving in, I guess, to overcharge that. Zenny, understanding that that is a horrible idea, pulls back. Though both ACUs are way too close and will most likely go down to this monkey. Zenny now standing still, moving in, I guess, to go in for the overcharge. Damon Russ overcharges, but not the experimental, and just goes down. Also overcharge out from Zenny, but that did not go after the monkey either, and both ACUs do go down. The monkey did take quite a bit of damage from that, so maybe those overcharges actually did hit the ACU and I just completely misjudged that, but no defenses, so the low HP pool of the monkey is not of any importance whatsoever. Everything that's left did get gifted over to Grey. And there's a chicken pushing in right here in the south, but that did get taken out by all these Percivals, and yes, that is a shit ton of Percivals. A solution that would be sniper bots, as they do outrange the Percival. And those can just whittle that down. I was about to say, or maybe airplay, but that's too many skyboxes, so airplay isn't an option. And that is a lot of demolishers. Let's just take a count. 13 demolishers. Yeah, we can see the firebase right here has just completely vanished. There's nothing left of that. There's also not much left of this base, of the base that once belonged to Zenny. And the base of Damon Russ is long gone. Interestingly enough, there was a missile battery built up here, but that never fired. Those are all fully loaded, but no mass kills, so I don't expect those to have been fired at any point in time. And also only 2 missiles fired from those. The monkey back up to 25k HP. Those 135 regen a second are just completely ridiculous. And definitely doing their job. Over 100k Mastodon thing. Very nice to see. And new firebase thrown up by True, though even that is a T3 shield that will not be nearly enough to defend against this amount of demolishers. The important thing about shields is they, unlike normal health regen, they need some time where they don't take any damage to regen. And the other thing is that sustained fire, like that with artillery, will always just whittle down shields. Because shield regen basically never out-regens any unit. Or the DPS of any unit, and with the time that the shield needs to wait before it can start to regen, that's just even worse. So basically that 168 that you see on this shield generator as regen is only, I think, is only a few seconds after it stops taking damage. Meaning that the actual effect of regen that you have while in combat is either 0 or greatly reduced. But that firebase is just completely wiped out. Now Megalith coming in from Popular, and that will most likely be quite effective against those bosses. There is an SMD right here. Let's see, is there any need for an SMD? Not bad looks on it. No. And Bream's base currently just getting completely surrounded from all sides with, well, just ridiculous amounts of spam. We also see ridiculous amounts of air factories coming out now. I guess just for some T1 air spam. Though there is this, yes, there is one T3 air factory. But holy moly, that's a lot of T1 that's going to be produced, and that's a lot of T1 that's on the field. We're currently looking at 1200 units on the field in total, if we go after that counter. Which, to be fair, for 36 minutes in a team game isn't too impressive. On the other hand, a lot of stuff did already die. Like main bases for the Eastern team got completely wiped. And with that, actually only 64 mass income for Bream. That Megalith pushed in way too close. The Megalith is, on the one hand, the Megalith is the tankiest experimental in the game, but it still does best when kept at range using that range, since it does have the highest from all land units. It does have the highest direct fire range. You could argue that the Fat Boy's weapon is direct fire, but the range is counted as indirect fires for that range ring, so I'm just gonna count it as that as well. But even if we count that in, then the Megalith still has the second highest range of any of the land units. And you should definitely always try to use that. The other problem that we saw was that the Megalith tried to retreat, pulled back, and with it only having guns in the front, it can't fire backwards. It's probably outranged by the Demolishers though, so those would have just wrecked that thing anyway, I guess. Might have been the exact thing that actually did kill it, so not too sure. some annoyance out from Zenny about Bream now, just now starting to do something. Well, waking up, I guess. And to be fair, I already pointed out earlier, they were quite passive early on. Until they had to do everything. So I guess that is a fair bit of criticism there. And that's a lot of Medusas. Those Demotions now moving up. Packing in their weapons and just getting to the next position to deploy. Bunch of Jesters coming out, but well, never mind, the flag is being held back, so that's not actually gonna do anything to defend against those. Okay, flag is moving in. On behalf of the Red Soviet Union. Well, I mean, what wasn't it Stalin who said that quantity is a quality of its own? And well, that's hell of a quantity. Let's just count how many T1 factories are we looking at? 60. And just about 100 Medusas, so those, yeah, most of them are currently not operational. Are they stalling mass? Well, they are floating quite a bit, so they could just run all of those for a bit. But yeah, they can definitely afford to run all of those factories. Especially if they reclaim properly, and look at that proper reclaiming. It's amazing to see. Now, pushing into the space is going to be a bit problematic though, because Cerberus, well, it is joked as a tickle gun, it does outrange T1 mobile RT. And it does have enough DPS to basically prevent it from being completely overwhelmed by T1 spam. And the other thing that we see right here are Ravagers, which have an easy time taking out anything that comes too close, even experimentals. T1 bombers being tried to use, being attempted to deal with this stuff, but just too much flak. It does take out, or just does take down one of the mobile shield generators, though. But even that survives, and will be back up in moments. So the Horde does continue on with that massive onslaught against the reinforced lines of their opponent, just throwing more and more bodies at the problem. Though I don't think that this problem can be solved by throwing more bodies at it, since, well, the units in this game do not run out of ammunition. So those servers will just continue firing and firing and firing until, well, there isn't anything to fire, anything left to fire at. More T1 bombers coming in. I think the flag slowly dying. So slowly whittling away at this army, but it still is quite big and it continues to push on. All of this unit production are redirected to deal with that. And Percy's, and in this situation Percy's are just really bad. Already pointed out their high alpha damage making them really bad against T1 units, and that's exactly what we see here. Those Medusas just way too squishy to actually be for the Percy to actually be an effective solution right here. There are I did see some loyalists right here. Yep. Loyalists are definitely the worst option, since they just Perseverance do actually counter the loyalists quite well. So you would like, so it would be better to go for bricks instead of loyalists in this situation, as the brick does fill the same niche as the Percival, and the Percival is basically similar to the brick, meant to take out the higher HP and the bigger units. So T2, T3, that kind of stuff. On the other, with the brick still being able to do quite well against T1 though, because it has a high rate of fire. Now, apparently Bream does have did notice the problem with the Percival in this situation and has started building up some Titans. I think that I pointed out quite a bit earlier that Titans would be a lot better in this situation as they have the high rate of fire. And while they do not one-shot the Mantis and T1 spam like the Percys do, they do not overkill it by that much and can retarget more easily. Zenny continuing to ping their teammate, pointing out that these mechs need to be taken. There's also a lot of stuff that could be reclaimed, and okay, we do see a bunch of manual reclaim and a bunch of patrol moves. Honestly, the better solution here would probably be just attack moves, factory attack moves. As the special thing, if you put an attack move on a factory, nothing after the attack move, and build engines out of that, the engines will, instead of the normal attack move, not move up to that position and reclaim every time something gets in reclaim range, but they will move to that position and reclaim from there with a greatly increased range. Making that a very, very useful stuff to reclaim large areas like that stuff. Factory attack moves are very powerful, currently not being utilized by Bream though. How's their mass income looking? Okay, they are spending it. At least right now they are spending it. But not always, so... What are they even spending their mass on? Is it just all of that? I think it is. Just a bunch of T3 factories. Right, yeah, but they don't have much income, so... All their income comes from that reclaim. That explains it. Popular still ahead by, well, over 200 mass. They could be doing a lot of stuff, but they are going just for the mass T1 spam, which will slowly take out these Titans just through a sheer brute force, but I don't think it's mass effective. Like, technically T1 is always more mass efficient than any higher tier units, but the problem with that is, especially when facing stuff like Titans that have shields, that you may never get into a situation where you actually do kill the Titan, because the Titan just moves out of range, the shield regenerates, and just rinse and repeat, meaning that the Titan will just never go down. Also, Titan has just outrageous T1 stuff, so it will just also be able to, if microed properly, it will just never take damage from any T1. So the idea of one being more mass efficient than the other, to just go for mass T1, only works on paper if you come in a situation where all units can fire into each other all the time. Which, however, isn't a realistic situation, and you can just see how much shit does go down here. More T1 bombers, it's just gonna be a feast for that flag. And the flag just does shred that stuff, because flag does have AoE, and also the T1 bombers aren't very tanky, meaning that they can be taken out quite easily. God, so much T1. I think Titans are probably the best option right here. I don't think a Fatboy would be too great because, well, you have your area of effect and long range fire, but you don't need that against T1 spam. Though T1 spam will have a hard time dealing with it. Jesus, okay, yeah, now all of these factories are actually producing and just streaming into this. Which is probably the only reason that the unit count is this low, because those units are just constantly being streamed into that army of Titans that are slowly taking veterancy off of that. A few of those also do go down occasionally, but I mean, look at some of those 3 banks of veterancy right there. Parachutes not moved up properly, so they are just behind. However, they are soaking up damage. And those Titans just running by to the north now, probably gonna take out the max right here. Crushing them down here isn't gonna be too great, but just so many units. Just going for the Soviet strategy of throwing enough bodies at the problem to make it vanish. Though, well, it would definitely break the spirit of your opponent, that's for sure. I don't know if it's actually gonna be of any proper effectiveness. Still, Popular is mostly going for loyalists. I'm gonna stand with my assessment that bricks would probably be the better option on that T3 factory right now. I mean, the best option would be to get a bunch of those T19 factories to T3 and mass-produce bricks with that economy. And just have the T1 factories idle, but I feel like Popular just wants to go for memeing at this point. They just don't care how this game goes. And good on them. Good on them. It's definitely, if they had gone for just mass bricks, the game would definitely not have been of any interest to cast. The main reason I am actually casting this, I would say, is just, well, this. I mean, look at this. Something you will see in not many other games, just this scale, this amount of units. And it's not even big units. Now, Popular, however, will go down, because the shield they were under got killed, and those units just also moved underneath that shield. Only leaving Troop now, who does move into the back, and will inherit all of this stuff. But to be honest, I don't think that this was that the mass T1 was a winning strategy from the start. And I also don't think that Popular was expecting it to be a winning strategy. They just wanted to meme around. And I can respect that. Even though it is a matchmaker game, even on Matchmaker you can meme around. It's always fair. Now, currently True just having all these factories idle since they just inherited all that stuff. And I guess just have to get an overview of what they actually have. Bream actually getting quite a bit of eco back up, with a bunch of T3 mass extractors building up. And yeah, that is actually it. Res on the ACU and T3 mass extractors. That seems like an awful lot just for 6 T3 maxes. Never mind, but 18 times 6 does actually add up to that. Or should add up to that. I'm not gonna do the exact math, but it's in the right ballpark, so should be fine. T3 max is just really powerful. Now, the attempt to build T1 BD out from True to try and defend, but those Titans and Percy's just not allowing anything to survive that comes in range. Not taking any prisoners. Those Hunters. Honestly, I think Hunters wouldn't even be that stupid to produce, because they are super cheap to produce. They are fast. They are easily spammable, and they have decent DPS. And well, they would probably be overkilled by Titans. So I'd say they, in this situation, if you want to go for the full meme, it's probably the best shot you would have. But the economy for True just going down, even though they still have a lot of mass stored, but they just no longer have the energy to spend it. Like nowhere near the energy. And they also no longer have any T3, so... And they have some T2 and they are currently building a T2P gen. I guess that is one of the reasons why they do not have that power. Because T2P gens take a lot of power and I don't think they have any T1 power currently up. Though we are at 52 minutes game time and with that unit spam probably something like 2 hours for the actual players. Or definitely quite a bit over 1 hour at least. So it shouldn't be too surprising. Brain has definitely already set it for some time now. But that spam is now moving up and it is moving close to that ACU that will go down. Because that ACU is completely without upgrades and that will not survive against this amount of Titans and Percival's if they just move north a bit. Though True wanting to end it because those units are not moving north. Does Prim know that that is there? Well, they do know that there is something there, but they don't know what it is. Though they can assume it's an ACU. And does take fire. K-Stuff is moving north now a bit. And that ACU will end up going down. I know, not too interesting early to mid game, with a lot of misplays and stuff like that. But honestly, I've rarely seen this much T1 land production actually being utilized. So, well, I had to cast it. And for all the wrong reasons, I guess. For the unusual game. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you liked it, leave a like, though I should have probably went over the early game a bit faster, so I can completely understand if you didn't. But yeah, there will be more casts like these coming out, or... Well, not actually like this, because, well, generally my casts have... with more experienced players and less memeing around. So, well, not just T1 land spam. But yeah, there will be more casts coming out if you want to be notified when those two come out. You can always subscribe. Then another thing, this was streamed live on Twitch. If you want to check that out, I do stream. I also stream me playing sometimes. But yeah, if you want to check that out, link to that will be down in the description. And hope to see you again in a future cast or stream. And till then, bye.